Welcome to the corner. I'm your host and resident voice, Anthony Cruz, and with me, the man whose lineage can be traced way back to the Lannisters and the Starks, but inherited none of the power and the money, the incredibly broke
Nick Portela.
What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? Been a while. How is everything?
I'm alright, not too bad. Ready to do this again?
One more time.
It's starting to become deja vu.
On this new post-Trump era that we're in. And
I told you, I'm gearing up for the apocalypse.
I know, that was a hell of a plan you sent me the other day.
Yeah, I know. I had the whole thing worked out where I was gonna start training for the post-apocalyptic, world. I was gonna have a car that's, stacked with armor and shit on it.
Yeah, and my plan was much simpler. I just planned to grab everybody by the pussy.
Yeah, that one works. Yeah, that works.
Yeah, I said, hey, to hell with it. Until this nation falls, I'm just gonna grab them all by the pussy.
Oh man. You know what? I mean, like I said, you got two hands.
Hey, that's.
I said the only problem you have is that your arm don't twist all the way.
Yeah, I know. So I have to grab them at an angle.
So you have to grab it. Yeah. Either they have to lay horizontal across you, and that way you could grab the pussy, just like that.
Well, I kind of learned the karate chop, like you kind of come with a side angle there.
Oh, okay.
At least it's good for my first two fingers,
That's good.
Grab them by the pussy. Grab them all.
So
it's like Pokemon, gotta catch them all,
I mean, with that whole thing, that was I don't know. We're not a political show.
We're not, but what we had to at least.
But I tell you one thing, this is pop culture like a motherfucker, though.
Yeah, this goes beyond pop. Trump is now think about this for a second.
He's a celebrity host.
He's a celebrity president he's transcended a reality star, so that makes him pop culture on some levels. The guy I think he's in the WWE Hall of Fame. In the celebrity list of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's there, I think Donald Trump is there. And hey, listen, that's 3 political leaders coming out of WWE: Jesse Ventura, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Donald Trump. You want to know who the future president is? Watch wrestling.
You know what? I would have rather voted for Mick Foley.
Oh, that would be just too funny. I'd have to vote for Mick Foley.
He comes up on the podium with his freaking plaid shirt on
and his sock. And his socko in his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, Mick Foley. I'd vote for him in a freaking
That would have been funny as hell. But then, I don't know. I don't look at orange the same way anymore.
No. Orange is really the new black now.
Oh, man.
It really is.
All right.
I'll tell you one thing. The Secret Service is going to be very busy for the next 4 years.
I don't know. You know what? It's not real until he actually stands up in front of the camera
the oath?
And goes, no. Even more than the oath. He goes, my fellow Americans. And like, as soon as he says that, then I know we're done.
Oh my God.
That's when I accept it. I'm like, all right, fine.
We're
on this fucking crazy train.
Well, I tell you
I can only imagine what we look like to the rest of the world right now.
Oh, they're laughing their asses off. I mean, he's already received a phone call. I remember when he won, he had his acceptance speech, for lack of a better term. He had already received a call, I think, from the English Prime Minister, and of course, Putin from Russia.
Putin, yeah.
Vladimir Putin, whatever. Putin.
Whatever
you want to call him. Harley Quinn Putin. He called Trump to, congratulate him. Big surprise there. I mean, Trump only asked him to hack into Hillary's email.
Nice.
So, why shouldn't he call him to congratulate him?
That's a good point.
But this is going to be I tell you what, no matter what happens, these 4 years will be very interesting.
Oh, fuck me. All right, I'm on this crazy train. Let's go. I don't know.
Hey, I already bought a Donald Trump wig.
You know what the horrifying thing is? Like, what if he's fucking good?
I'll tell you what, it's funny you say that. I just read his plans for his first 100 days in office. You were talking about that earlier. And you want to hear the funny thing? Some of it makes sense. Like some of his views on healthcare, some of his views on, not allowing big business these incredible tax breaks, yet still outsourcing American jobs.
Yeah. He
wants to put an end to all of that shit.
Yeah, you might not see it though, because he plans on deporting all Puerto Ricans.
Oh, he can't deport us. We're a Commonwealth. We don't got far to go.
Like,
listen, you want to give me a vacation to Puerto Rico, all expense paid? I'll be more than happy to go. Listen, you want to deport me to Puerto Rico? You want to deport me to Puerto Rico? I will be eating acapuria on the beach, on Luquillo Beach, until I die. And I have a pension. I work for the city of New York. They're going to still owe me money. So either way, I'm gonna be fine.
You're gonna be all right. All right. At least we got that established.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm good.
All right, fair
We
enough.
got family over there. Please,
Yeah, no, we're good, man.
we got family over there. You know, I mean, come on.
That's like I don't have to go to work on Monday.
It's not like we live in Beirut and they're deporting us to Beirut.
Deport my ass.
Yeah, deport me to Puerto Rico.
I can freelance.
Shit.
I can freelance from Puerto Rico.
Man, please, I'll get a job picking guayaba leaves and shit. I'll be fine.
Oh man. So yeah, I mean, besides that, that's like the biggest news. I mean, the election. But there was some other things that happened, like Doctor Strange came out.
Oh, Doctor Strange, man, what a good film.
Yeah, no, it did. It was surprisingly well done. All right, so we're gonna spoil the shit out of this. It's gonna be moldy and green like we normally do. But I mean, what's interesting about this is that Marvel's finally stepping into the magical realm. They kind of put best way to put it, they pussyfooted around the idea with Thor. Because they kind of copped out and saying, well, this is not magical. This is where magic and science are one and the same.
Right.
They didn't opt out and say, yes, we're a magical realm.
Right.
So
the Asgardians aren't even immortal.
Yeah.
If you remember in part 2, Odin telling Loki, we're not gods. We live and we die. And that's when Odin said,
Exactly.
Loki said, give or take 10,000 years. So in the movie, in the cinematic universe, the Asgardians are just a highly evolved, very powerful race.
Yeah.
That have managed to somehow
of sentient beings, but they're not gods.
Yeah, but they're not gods in the cinematic.
They're
very powerful,
and
but
their
not
magic
gods per se.
is driven by their science.
Yeah, it's like their science is magic. Rather, it's weird.
Yeah.
The way it's said.
And then beyond that, then you have people like what was it, Scarlet Witch, where they don't say that her powers are magical. They just say that she's just an enhanced human.
Well,
much like her brother.
Well, technically, she's not really magical per se. Her powers are to offset probability. Yeah. Those are her powers. But, we've also seen that her powers extend beyond that, like in M-Day, in the comics when she said no more mutants. And then 95% of the mutant population disappeared.
Yeah.
So her powers are, there's really no label for Scarlet Witch's
She's
powers.
on another, they have a hard time figuring out what she is.
You can't put her in a box. Like, you have characters like Colossus, he's the strong guy. You have Professor X, who's the mental guy.
Right.
People like Storm, whose her powers are element based. Scarlet Witch is a different animal. Like her,
right.
She's not necessarily magical. It's almost like magic is her mutant power. If that makes any sense. It's weird, you know?
Yeah. And that's what it is. In the comic books, she's technically a mutant.
Yeah, she's a mutant.
But in the Marvel universe, she's an enhanced.
Yeah, well, they can't say the word. They actually can't even use the word mutant in the cinematic universe.
No, they can't.
They're not allowed to use that word because of Fox's X-Men deal.
So here it is. You got Doctor Strange released, and it's the first time we're stepping into the magical world. And and what's really awesome about it is that they presented magic in a way that you quite haven't seen before, whether it be a Marvel movie or any movie for that matter. They really give you a really cerebral experience.
Yeah, it was very Inception-like.
Almost it's like Inception and smoking crack and and then inserted pure meth up its ass.
Yeah, it was Inception on crack.
Yeah,
the way they did it, the way they were able to warp reality and all this stuff. I'll tell you one thing though. I don't know whose idea it was to cast the Ancient One as, and again, everyone knows I'm terrible at remembering these names, but
Tilda Swinton.
Okay, all know, if you know her, she was in Constantine. She played Gabriel. Yeah. She always plays these androgynous roles, where she can either be male or female, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So the Ancient One we all know in the comics is this Asian old man, right?
Yeah.
They went this way with her, but I liked it. Some people were crazy about it, but I enjoyed it.
Her casting was a lot of. There was some controversy behind it, but because, one thing people like to toss around a lot is whitewashing. And it's a term that's gone very popular over the past couple of years, and it's ridiculous. It's stupid. They scream whitewash for any damn reason. Put one white person in it, and all of a sudden it's whitewashing. And that's basically what Doctor Strange was. They put all these mixed races in there. You saw them. There were blacks and and whites and Asians and all this stuff. And just because they put Tilda Swinton in that role, oh, they're whitewashing. Eat a dick. You know.
Nonsense.
So
complete nonsense.
But I mean, like, it's just like the. Well, yeah,
with Star Trek Beyond, they were pissed because Khan was, and the reason I mentioned is because the guy who plays Doctor Strange is Benedict Cumberbatch, the same guy who played Khan in Star Trek,
right.
Into Darkness.
Into Darkness.
So people were pissed because, as you know, in the William Shatner,
Ricardo Montalban,
right,
who he's not Hispanic. I'm sorry. He's not Hispanic. He's not Spaniard. He's not anything.
Yeah, what is he? He's Italian, is it, or
Italian?
And he's Italian, right?
And on top of the fact,
and they painted him red to make him an Indian.
And he wasn't even an Indian. He's an alien.
Well, he's a genetically enhanced person, but they made it as they gave him this Indian look. If you look at him, he's very Native American-ish.
It's a bad tan, man.
Yeah, it's
bad fucking tan.
Yeah, it's retarded. You know, they did what they did with Charlton Heston in the Ten Commandments. They made him look Egyptian. You know, so here you have Benedict Cumberbatch, and you had people accuse Star Trek of the same thing. Yeah. Because in the original one, Khan was most people think he's Spanish. Oh, well, Khan was Spanish, or he was like a Native American. Now he's a white guy. Khan was none of those things anyway.
Yeah. You know what? Like this.
If anyone should be pissed, it should be the Asians. They took an Asian name and put it on a white guy.
True. I mean, this cast in Doctor Strange is pretty diverse. You got Cumberbatch. What was really this movie to kind of backtrack a little. Doctor Strange plays out more like a Marvel Phase 1 film.
Very much so.
It's an origin story. It'll be just as fit in Phase 1 as it is now in Phase 3. We're in Phase 3 now.
I think we're going on 4.
We're going on 4. So it fits very snugly in almost any phase because
it really does.
It's a pure quintessential origin story.
Just alongside Ant-Man and the other ones.
His origin story is somewhat similar to Tony Stark's, where douchebaggery or assholeness or arrogance plays a role in his psyche, his character. But he's not as bad as Tony Stark.
No.
Like Tony Stark was like completely full of himself. Here, Doctor Strange is almost like he's aware of his talents. He's aware of what he can do and be smug about it.
Yeah, but in some ways,
but he cares. He gives a crap.
But it's funny you say that. I kind of found the opposite with that. Like I found Tony Stark in Phase 1 a little more likable than him, and the reason I say that is because Tony Stark was arrogant, cocky, big on himself, very good at what he did.
That's interesting.
But Tony Stark always seemed to have a good heart. This guy seemed like a real prick. Like, remember throughout the movie, there were people that needed his help, and he just turned them away because it was a case that wouldn't really help him.
Right. I mean, you get peppered in that he's like a really bad guy.
Yeah,
but even still, like, even in that one scene, I mean, granted, it's his love interest where what was her name? Rachel McAdams? Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel.
Rachel McAdams. Her character. She's one of the night nurses. If you haven't already known, if you've seen the film. She's playing one of the night nurses. There's one of 3 in the Marvel Universe. Rosario Dawson plays the night nurse in Daredevil and Luke Cage and even Jessica Jones. Rachel McAdams is a night nurse on this side of the cinematic universe. And there's one of 3 floating around the city. So what happens is she goes and she asks for his help with a patient. Because it was like he had like a bullet lodged in his head.
Actually, I think she's a doctor in this.
She's a doctor.
She is a doctor. Yeah, she's a doctor.
So
because she helped him develop a method.
Yeah. She's on a little more advanced level there. So he helps her out. It's not like he even said it. There's no glory in removing a bullet from a guy who got shot. Like he works with neural pathways and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's his.
But he was funny. He liked cases that were gonna bring him glory.
Right.
That if he did them, these cases that no one else could do but him. But at the same time, if it was a lost cause, he didn't want to take a chance on it because he didn't want to ruin his record.
Right.
Because remember, there was a part he's in the car and he was calling that guy, asking him. And I don't know if you caught this.
Oh, I know. I caught it. I know exactly what
right?
He was talking about Rhodey.
He was talking about Rhodey.
Yeah.
That part where he said, "Oh, a guy in some combat armor with a thoracic injury," and he goes, "I'm not dealing with that." That was Rhodey.
Yep.
That was actually Rhodey, and a lot of people didn't catch that.
You imagine that shit?
So that goes to show you this happened right after Civil War.
Right.
Basically, it's a timeline here.
Right. And you know what? Like, and if you're not quick to pick that up, like, you could almost think that well, maybe this happened before all those movies, but no. If you follow the timeline, that happens right after Civil War.
Right after Civil War, because so I'm taking it that after the battle, right after the battle.
But here's some bullshit. Okay, all right. So here is some shit. Now I don't know if maybe this was a cinema sin on behalf of continuity, but if you listen close, all right. So here it is. It's established that Doctor Strange established after Captain America: Civil War, but if you go back to Captain America: The Winter Soldier, they mention Stephen Strange.
Oh shit, you're right. They do. I remember that the list. They had a list.
So unless they needed him to be a neurosurgeon for Hydra's ultimate plan or whatever the case may be, there's no way those fuckers could have obviously known that he was going to become the Sorcerer Supreme.
Wow. You know what? You're right. I didn't even think about that, but I remember that clearly in a Winter Soldier. They were mentioning different names. They mentioned, and one of the names is Stephen Strange.
Yeah, finding some errors up in this bitch.
Yeah. So either that was a mistake on their part.
Yeah.
Or, because he wasn't the sorcerer then. And funny you mentioned Sorcerer Supreme. I think, to jump a little bit, I think one of the things about this movie I like so much is that more than any of the other Phase 1 films, because we can look at this like a Phase 1 film, this one really leads you to believe that this story is not finished. Because at the end of this movie, he was not the sorcerer. He wasn't.
No, he's not. So they said it will return.
Yeah, they're going to return. But I like that. I'm glad that at the end of it all, he doesn't just take the Ancient's place.
Right.
That's still, there's a vacuum there still, and he still has so much.
There's a lot of things they're gonna have to bring together when it comes time for Infinity War, but we're gonna touch on that in a minute. But let's talk a little bit about the film. It pretty much starts off in a running pace because the movie opens up with
a hell of a fight scene.
The villain, what is this? Syphilis? What the fuck is his name?
Yeah, good luck with that one.
His name is Syphilis.
Syphilis, gonorrhea, whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck his name was? I can't remember. But he goes
flanked by chlamydia and the claps.
So they go and they enter the temple and they steal pages from one of the master's books, the Ancient One's books, and it opens up to a big action scene of magic and powers being used out in the world, but in a mirrorverse. So they're twisting buildings and flipping things upside down. It's amazing. And on top of they doing all that, they're doing this really well choreographed martial arts while incorporating magic into the martial arts. So it's just beautiful to look at. First 5 minutes in the film, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So it really so it kind of just established that there's your plot point right there. Some pages from a book that we don't know what's going on yet has been taken, and after that it cuts to Doctor Strange preparing for surgery, and it's just delightful, like the way just the whole thing opens up with him doing surgery. You're getting a sense of his skill, and that's when you start to get your plot points. And after he does the surgery, you get introduced to Rachel McAdams' character, and you just get a sense about who he is. But tragedy doesn't hit until he's on his way to some sort of function or coming home from a function.
Right, he was on his way to a function,
and he was
he was going to give a lecture.
Yes,
actually, he was going to go give a lecture, and he's on the phone, not paying attention. Like all responsible drivers do. And
unfortunately, he causes an accident. One thing they didn't show is whether or not the person that he got into the accident with actually survived.
Yeah, that's true. They
I don't remember
seeing
anything.
No, they didn't mention anything about it. But he's Doctor Strange. He don't give a shit.
Yeah. So his car. You know what? I felt more bad for the car.
Than hell yeah, that car was nice.
My man was driving a beautiful freaking Ferrari, and he totals it, and my heart just died. I'm like, I'm like, I'm sure he's like almost dead, but can you save the car? No. So the accident is so bad that it destroys his hands, and as you know, as a surgeon, your hands are your life. And because of it, he had a sense of nerve damage, and the guy just goes through the paces as far as trying to heal, trying to regain what he lost, and he exhausts himself mentally, emotionally, financially,
right,
just trying to find a way to fix his problem, and of course nothing's helping until a very smart guy with his therapy convinces him that there was a man who was that bad who found his way back.
Yeah, and the interesting about that is that whole conversation started because the guy was trying to convince Stephen Strange is a scientist, and like most scientists, they don't believe in anything unless it's been proven. Something they can see, touch, feel, or taste.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't believe in the healing powers of the mind or any of that other spiritual stuff. That he didn't believe in any of that. So when his therapist is trying to tell him, listen, it's all mental, and if you will yourself back to health, you can get healthy again.
Mm-hmm.
He completely just blows the guy off and goes, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right, I'm living in reality. I'm not living in this quasi spiritual world you're living in. I deal with facts. Okay. And the guy points him in the direction of a person played by Benjamin Bratt, who ironically enough was a guy who went to Stephen Strange when he needed help, and Strange just completely blew him off.
Right up. So he was like, "Look, here's the proof."
There's a little irony for you.
He's like, "Here's the proof to shut your arrogant ass up."
Yeah, he gives him the medical file, and he sees it and he's amazed by it.
Yeah.
So this from Benjamin Bratt is where he first hears of this ancient one, this place where you could go and be healed.
Right. So he takes that advice and he finds himself in Kathmandu, where he's trying to find the temple or try to find the person that that he was referred to, and he ends up getting saved by Mordo.
Funny enough,
and
when he gets attacked for money.
And that opens up to a scene that was just phenomenal because he takes him to see the Ancient One. Doctor Strange is like, how do you do it? How did you get this person? He's thinking this like physical medicine or a physical procedure to make this person better.
Yeah, he thought it was some type of cutting edge surgery.
And when she opens up his mind, you get taken on a freaking acid trip of magic and space and time. And it was just gorgeous, man. I mean,
yeah, it actually kind of reminded me a little bit of, it was different, but the closest thing I could compare to it is when Ant-Man went into the subatomic universe.
Yeah,
it was very trippy that way.
Yeah,
very weird, totally. and it was almost like you can see. Another thing too, the special effects were gorgeous.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, the way they did that whole astral plane thing, where the guy had an out of body experience after basically he got the spirit slapped right out of his body. That's a serious bofetada, man.
Yeah.
And for our Spanish listeners, you know what I'm talking about when I say un pecosa. Knocks the spirit out of your body.
I experienced that when I got my ass whooped by my parents.
Oh, I remember a couple of those myself.
I was like, oh, shit.
You were floating.
I was like, yo, I got my ass whooped, but I'm floating.
That's me on the floor. So the closest thing I can compare
I'll come back
to
later when the pain is gone.
Oh, you ain't kidding. But unfortunately, it never quite works. So he's come back and the pain is still there.
I was like, fuck, God.
But it was almost kind of like that. Very trippy. All this stuff was going on. Very open to interpretation.
And he was, and there was it was about 5 minutes long, man. That whole scene.
It was a very long scene.
Just seeing the universe in such a way that just would change him forever. So by the time he came back, he became a magic groupie. He was like, "You must teach me your ways." It was like very strong brother.
Yeah, he was a believer after that first slap. Isn't it amazing how a slap can change your life?
Shit.
A slap can change your life.
Is that when they say they're gonna slap the demon at you?
They're gonna beat the demon out of you.
I'm gonna beat the devil out of you. So
man, but it was so funny how after that scene, right there he's a believer. Like he comes back and he's like, "Well, I want to know all about this."
Yeah.
And it was a very interesting. You get to watch his journey.
Mm-hmm.
You really feel like you're a part of his journey. And something that this movie did that I was very appreciative of, I really felt like I was watching a lot of magic.
Yeah.
Some movies
ton of magic.
Yeah, some movies that are supposed to be magical, you don't get a whole bunch of magic. Maybe at the end, the final scene, there's a big magic scene, but a lot of that is little spells here, little spells there. this movie, you really felt like you dove into a magical world.
Yeah.
Like there was there was so much of it going on.
Yeah, once you stepped into that world,
it was all magic.
Nothing was normal.
Nothing was normal. It was all magic all the time.
Right.
You know,
right.
and you saw his progression as he went along, and it was just so well done. And that was something I appreciated about Warcraft. In Warcraft, you know, the people there, the mages who did magic, you felt like a lot of magic was going on.
Right.
There was just so much. So when it became a part of the movie, it was so profound in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, and Doctor Strange did the same thing. The magic was a driving force of this film.
And it was evident in the action scenes and stuff like that. I mean, so at that point he starts to learn, he starts to after much convincing, the Ancient One agrees to teach him. And then after that it's about him, you know, learning the craft and his and I like that he was having some trouble and then he starts to figure it out. And it was just like funny, and they didn't make it too serious. They weren't too serious with themselves. They show him being dropped in what was it, the Alps or Mount Everest,
Mount
to
Everest,
find his way back.
Freezing temperatures.
You know, and just like him being proved by a guy with no limb that he could still do magic without hands.
Right, because he believed that because his hands were injured, he wasn't able to perform the spells properly. But what was so cool was that the Ancient One told him that he had to almost put aside everything he knew scientifically and medically. He had to put all that scholastic information on the side and connect with the spiritual part of himself. In order to make, he had to find a way to merge those two halves.
Because he was quick to learn all that magic. Because he has a receptive memory where he
has an eidetic memory. He can pretty much see something once and learn it.
So he was really good at that. He was eating through books like with no problem.
Yeah, absorbing tons of information.
Putting that into practice, he was having the trouble with. And that makes sense for his kind of character.
Oh, it absolutely does. And the thing I like about this is that in some movies, and I guess I'll use Green Lantern as an example of this, a guy like when Hal Jordan became a Green Lantern, he goes to Oa. The guy has like one lesson, and all of a sudden he's better than every other Green Lantern.
No, not to mention he has one lesson, he's better than everybody else, and then has one bad lesson, and then he quits.
And then he quits. And then he quits. Well, I hate when movies do that. Like that's a trend in movies. A person goes, gets a little bit of training, and they're able to fight people that masters can't fight, and they win. Right? This movie didn't do that. He was very much, even though you could tell he was talented. You know, he was brilliant, which is why he was able to read these spells and understand and absorb the information. But there was a lot he still needed to learn. So he stumbled through a lot of things very early on and had to use his wits actually as opposed to power.
Right? Because even even at a point in the movie where he gets confronted by syphilis and his gang of merry magicians.
Caecilius. Caecilius is his name. Not syphilis.
Syphilis and his merry magicians. They attack him, and a lot of the fighting was very defensive. It was reactionary. It was him, you know, fighting and getting away. Yeah,
he showed promise. Like he had moments when he did things that were pretty cool. You know, you could tell he was very much putting what he was learning into practice. But he still had so much more to learn, and these guys were so much more experienced.
It was that his intellect was so high that he can think his way out of a situation, which was very helpful in the fight. But if he tried to go toe to toe,
he was getting smashed.
He was getting smashed up. So I mean, and that's when he in that scene, that's when he gets his cape, the cape.
Right, the cape, the cloak of levitation.
Cloak of levitation, which was beautifully done because in the comics they never hinted at it being like a magical relic where it binds to you and reacts to you and all that stuff.
It was actually defending him in the movie, which was actually a pretty funny part.
So it's one of those instances that makes sense in the way that Spider-Man's organic web shooters made sense.
Sure.
So
because in the comics it is a magical item, but I don't recall it. I mean, but again, I'm not gonna pretend to be a Doctor Strange expert, but I don't recall it ever like defending him in a fight or blocking blows for him or you know, I don't recall it ever doing that. So
by the time he starts to learn and starts to understand what's going on, because he inquires about the very book that Caecilius, thank you. I'm gonna call him Syphilis. Fuck that. So we're gonna take Caecilius and we're gonna call him Syphilis, and he's gonna be Syphilis for the rest of this fucking podcast.
And his men are called the Claps.
So
his merry band of Claps.
So it's the very book that the pages were stole from, and then he uses brilliantly the Eye of Agamotto to reverse time to see what pages were missing. Where nobody thought to fucking do that before because they have rules. He was like, fuck this. And he uses the Eye of Agamotto. So now we get our first glimpse of Eye of Agamotto, the thing you always seen in the comics and the cartoons. And it can reverse time, and that's what he saws. He sees about Dormammu and all this stuff. And it just kicks off just a series of events of, the Sanctorums. There's 3 of them. One in, Hong Kong, New York, and London.
Yes.
And 2 of them being knocked off. New York being, one of them being knocked off. London, and
Tokyo got knocked off, and then New York.
No, Tokyo was the last one. New York was the second one to get hit.
No, New York was the last one, I believe, because that last fight.
The last fight was in Tokyo.
Okay. I think you're okay. I think you're right. All right, fair enough.
Tokyo, Hong Kong.
Yeah, no. You're right. Fair enough.
Yeah. So it kicks off this big action scene where, Doctor Strange defends the New York Santorum from syphilis. So.
Hey, listen.
Well, you know what? Hey, look, that shit on his face kind of looked like a venereal disease on his eyes. It was all craggly, cracked. It was tender in the side, and
he needs to watch what he goes down on, man.
I was like, "What are you giving a blinking job to somebody?"
He should have seen it coming.
He should have seen it all coming.
He's like, I got syphilis of the eyes, so
it burns us.
It burns.
It freezes.
So it kicks off this big action scene, and like I said, the fighting's very intricate and creative because the villains are running on the walls and they're throwing magical powers at each other, and it was fucking phenomenal. And that's when he gets the cloak of levitation.
Yes.
Which turns the scene very, very lighthearted.
Yeah, it gets funny.
Yeah,
it gets really funny.
And really cool stuff. Like, you got that one room where there's like 3 different windows and they go to 3 different parts of the planet.
So he's getting his butt kicked and he figures out how to lure his enemies through those windows, and then he just shuts them out. So they're stuck wherever it was that he left them.
It was brilliant shit. I've never seen shit like that.
No. I can honestly say it felt very new. It felt very unique. And I love the fact, again, to reiterate, I love the fact that he wasn't just a master just like this. Yeah. Yes, you can see he was talented. You can see that he was definitely born to be a sorcerer. Mm-hmm. The potential and the talent was there, but he lacked experience. Yeah. There were still certain things he needed to learn. So he was able to stumble across some things, but he used his wits, and he knew that he couldn't beat these guys up in a fair fight. Yeah. So he would lure them into these places and then just leave them there. Yeah. It was brilliantly done. It was so brilliantly done.
So by the end of that scene, the Ancient One and Mordo catch up with Doctor Strange, and they pretty much find out that he survived the attack, which they're pretty impressed by, and but Doctor Strange had figured out where the source of the Ancient Master is coming from, which was the dark dimension, where Dormammu. Yeah. So she siphons power, and that's how she has her eternal youth.
Right.
So,
which leads me to a small gripe I have with the movie. I would have preferred a more demonic-looking Dormammu.
Well, we'll get to that.
I wasn't crazy
because you mentioned
that.
Green Lantern. That was a good point. I'm gonna come back to that because there was a lot of similarities between both movies. So,
but this one was way better.
Yeah,
way better.
Yeah, way better. We're not gonna take that away from them. So, they meet up with them, and then they kick off another insane, topsy-turvy scene in New York City where the world's getting turned upside down, and like I said, it's just like, even though they play that same motif, over and over in the movie, each time they did it, it was different. They did something different with it.
They did.
Especially it looked like a fun house.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like a fun house filled with crazy mirrors.
Yeah.
And the cool thing was that not only were they going into this mirror dimension to fight, so that way they wouldn't do damage to the regular world, to our reality, they were able to use the dimension itself as a weapon. Yeah. They would open it up and then to make, let's say, like a pit, and then close it very quickly, or use a building that's shifting in and out, use it as a weapon to hit one of the enemy sorcerers. Right. It was just brilliant how they were able to use the environment itself as a weapon. Yeah. Yet still do it in such a way where our reality wasn't affected, and it kept the the integrity of the film that way. You know,
like the first action scene was new and exciting, and the world folded in on itself, and so you got a good sense of that. The second scene was a very intricate close quarters fight, which felt a lot like Inception in a way, but with a whole bunch of magic. Third action scene was that scene we were just talking about, and it was just taking the world, flipping it around, creating like this fun house sort of thing, and them trying to get away, and a lot of really cool set piece moments in that scene. And then the final scene is what happens in it's Hong Kong, right? It's not Tokyo, or is it Tokyo? No, it's Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, okay, it was in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I believe it's Hong Kong, and that's when they bring down the final Santorum, and to bring Dormammu to this world, because Syphilis' plan, the whole plan of that thing was just so that he can bring Dormammu to the thing, and he shares immortality with the world, where he felt scorned by the Ancient One for keeping that from himself and saying, no, you can't do that. You can't handle it. So you think about an apprentice feeling burned by their master.
Very much so. An apprentice who showed so much promise.
Which is almost the same premise of Ant-Man in a way. Because,
oh, yeah. Very, very, very
similar.
If
you think about it.
This movie was like a
it was like, well, that worked. Let's do it again.
Yeah, this movie, if you look at it, it's kind of like an amalgamation of some parts of Ant-Man, some parts of Iron Man, and a little bit Inception. Yeah. You know? Yeah. They took from all these movies and they put it together and they made it work.
It was like
for Doctor Strange.
Because, Doctor Strange is a hard character to write for, and there's a hard character to even make a movie of. Like, I mean, what they did here was freaking phenomenal, because we were all thinking, like, all right, they got away with Ant-Man, they got away with these obscure characters, Guardians of the Galaxy. How the fuck are they going to pull off Doctor Strange?
And not make it corny.
And it seemed like somebody came in the room, it was like, all right, here's Iron Man, here's Ant-Man, and then here's Inception. And they're like, fuck. They put 3 DVDs on the table. And it's like, let's make these make love.
and make this.
And then make this.
And it worked. And it worked. I mean, yes, the movie isn't perfect. No movie is.
It has its problems.
It has its issues here and there. But overall, it was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was a solid movie. And it was a great origin story.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, it comes down to this. Would you be interested in a sequel? I myself would love a sequel.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and obviously, judging from the way this movie is selling like hotcakes, the rest of the world would like a sequel too.
Yeah, totally.
And the cool thing is, like you said, magic. This is the first time the Marvel Cinematic Universe has dealt with magic. It should have been with Thor, but they didn't really go there. So they're doing magic here.
Yeah.
And they had to find a way to make magic fit seamlessly into this universe that they've already created. Right? They had to find a way to do that, and they did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. And like you said, it was something I was worried about, because how do you go from the Avengers and Captain America and Iron Man to this and make it feel like it's all part of the same place?
Yeah, how do you do that? Yeah,
how do you make it feel like how do you make Doctor Strange in such a way where he looks like he fits right next to the Avengers? Mm-hmm. But they were able to pull it off.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that all of us were concerned is that you got this Doctor Strange movie. You got a relatively unknown villain driving the movie as a antagonist. Mm-hmm. So we know what his purpose is. It's just him there to create a conflict for the hero to have his origin story, to lead into other things in the cinematic universe, to lead into bigger and more well-known villains like Mordo, who in this movie is a friend, but we all know that he becomes his arch nemesis in the comic books. Right. And Dormammu, who's like
one of his big nemesis,
biggest nemesis.
That's like, I would say Dormammu is kind of like his dark side.
His dark side,
or like his Apocalypse,
or Avengers Thanos. Like, he's on that level.
Guy. He's on that level, except on a mystical level.
So in the movie, we were like wondering whether or not we're going to see Dormammu, and we did a version of him. And I don't even think, and to be honest, I don't even think it's his real version. I just think it's the version we saw in that universe. Because in the scene where, Hong Kong is being destroyed and the worlds are colliding, Doctor Strange gets it in his mind that I'm gonna go to where Dormammu is, and I'm gonna see if I can strike a bargain. But using the Eye of Agamotto, he puts himself in a time loop so that he can negotiate with Dormammu, and if it doesn't go his way, he can loop it back over and over and over again.
Which I must say it's got to be one of the most creative
It's brilliant. It's
and
a
annoying ways. Because honestly, how many superheroes can say they defeated their arch nemesis by annoying him?
It's very true. I mean, I have to
he
admit.
really just annoyed him.
Yeah.
You know, and because the thing is, Dormammu being who he is, he's an extra dimensional. The way they describe him here is that he's like an extra dimensional being, basically, except that his dimension is a dark dimension.
Right.
So he has I guess what you call cosmic awareness. So after the first couple of times he killed Doctor Strange, he was well aware of the fact that he'd done this already.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't caught in this time loop and unaware that he's in this time loop.
Yeah.
Because of him being who he is at the power level he's at. And certain characters have that, like Silver Surfer has that, Galactus has that. I think even Thor on some levels has that too. They have this, what they call in the comics, cosmic awareness. So him being a character that he is, knew that he had already, you know, the first couple of times he killed him, he didn't seem to know. But then by the third or fourth time,
like, something ain't right.
He knew that he had already done this. Like, he
like,
became aware.
Something's a foul here.
He became aware that he was stuck in a loop.
But you know, you think about a scene that's supposed to be so heavy in seriousness, where the world's at stake and things are being destroyed, and you got this really comical scene of like Groundhog's Day, where he's like, "We got to make a bargain. No matter how many times you kill me, I'm gonna keep coming back trying to make a bargain with you." And pissing them off.
He killed him so many times. It really was comical.
It was funny.
So sometimes he blew him up. Other times he impaled him with a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
He crushed him on other times. It was just any particular way you can imagine yourself being killed.
So they did a pretty good job of showing that scene in its many variations of it looping back and forth, trying to make a bargain with Dormammu. Now, the problem with what I have with Dormammu is that once again he's where I compare it to Green Lantern is the parallax.
Parallax, right?
They or even Fantastic Four.
With Galactus.
He's like this giant space cloud with this disembodied head.
Yeah, this giant mess of something, you know.
But I think it's not his only form. I'm getting the sense that because you know what, Marvel's too smart with what they're doing to know that they can't get away with bullshit like that.
I hope.
We already know that they could do characters like Thanos and make it work. So I think for the fact that he was in this dimension, he can exist everywhere. So that's what he was.
Right.
And he was just serving as a face to talk to Doctor Strange. So I think in any iteration going forward in another movie, you're going to see Dormammu cross into the world. I'm more than positive he's not going to be some giant space cloud.
Yeah, he's not like an evil.
I think he'll come as a physical being of a somewhat taller height, but he'll be full form.
Yeah, he's, as opposed to being like an evil Zordon from Power Rangers.
He's like some kind of evil fart, in dimensions. So
yeah, they did.
I mean, that was my gripe, but they did it way better than they did with
this movie is 100 times superior to Green Lantern. But I definitely see that comparison because, the Green Lantern did it with Parallax, because anybody who's with the comic knows that is not how Parallax looks.
Yeah.
They did it with Fantastic Four with the Silver Surfer. They made Galactus almost like some type of weird asteroid storm. He came in a bunch of rocks.
That was a chunky space fart.
That was a chunky, nasty. He should have wiped his ass space fart after he was done. Here they made Parallax kind of Inception-y himself. He had a lot of different faces. He was warping in and out. Again, very Inception-like in terms of how they made him look. He was coming up and around everywhere.
Yeah.
I do hope that if they make a sequel, which I'm sure they will, they just go all the way and make Dormammu look the way we know him to look in the comics. Is what I'm hoping for.
I think they know to do that. I think they just, like I said, it was just an issue of him being in his own realm. So he can exist however the fuck he wants. He could be a little girl. He can be whatever he wants in his own dimension.
Yeah,
you know,
that could be. That's an interesting. That's
so,
a very interesting theory, and that actually holds weight. If you stop and think about it, that's his dimension. He rules it.
Yeah.
So he can exist in any particular form he wants. So that makes sense.
And you know what? Say what you will, but what form is more imposing than a giant space fart with a face?
I know one thing, man. I wouldn't want to be near it.
Yeah,
that's for damn sure.
So, there are things that I'm like, all right. It's a what do they call it, a scratch mark, but for the most part, it's like I'll let you slide for the way you presented it.
Yeah, definitely.
And the way you fed me the ending.
And the way he annoyed him to be, it was insane.
Yeah, so the way the movie ended was almost anticlimactic in a way, but for the most part, it was wholly satisfying. I was satisfied when I left.
I was. Oh, I absolutely was. I mean, despite that, I wanted a bigger battle at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely wanted to see something a little bit more knockdown, drag out, except with magic, not so much physicality.
Yeah.
But the way they chose to do it made sense in the context where Doctor Strange, we know how powerful he becomes, but he's not there yet.
He's not there yet.
So you can't expect him to go magical blow for magical blow with a being like Dormammu and win.
Yeah, true.
So it kind of made sense that he had to, again, use his wits and outsmart him. Because if he was having a hard time fighting Caecilius, or Syphilis as you like to call him, and his merry band of claps, if he had a hard time fighting those guys, he's not going to hold up against a guy like Dormammu.
True.
So it made sense that he would have to find a different way to beat him. And he didn't beat him in a sense where he defeated him and left him broken, battered, and bloody.
Right.
He put him in a position where Dormammu didn't have a choice but to concede.
Exactly.
He didn't beat him with power, he beat him with smarts. So it worked. In the context of the film, it worked.
It worked. Yeah. I thought it was great. And then, just like with any Marvel film, you get the post-credit scenes, and those were pretty awesome. One, you see Mordo slip into his villainous role, which I was surprised. I thought they were going to cop out of doing that, but they followed through with it. And I was like, fuck, all right, so that's what we have to look forward to.
And the reason they chose is pretty solid, too. Because, Mordo was someone who was very rigid. Even the Ancient One describes him as uncompromising and unmoving, unyielding. So when he found out what the Ancient One was doing, instead of thinking, wow, well, she did this for the greater good, and she did this because she was trying to keep the powers of darkness at bay, all he could see was that she broke the rules.
Yeah.
And so it put him on this path where he thought that the life he'd been living was a complete lie.
Oh, and the actor who they got to play.
Yeah, Chua, that's a rough name to pronounce.
Chua
Okafor. He's been in a bunch of movies. He was in...
I watch him in whatever he does.
He was in, what was it called, The Day After Tomorrow, I believe he was there.
He was there, yes.
He was in that movie, Red Belt. It's called that jiu-jitsu
I love that movie.
Oh, I love that movie. The movie's fantastic. He was in that. He was in... Serenity. He played the assassin. Tracking down the crew.
Yeah. He's been in
many movies.
In a fuck ton of movies, and he's great. Like, he's just an actor that brings his A game. No matter how shitty the movie could be, you know that he's bringing his A game to that.
And he was almost Black Panther.
I heard, yeah.
He was almost Black Panther.
But I like the guy.
What they got was great. I got no complaints.
Chad Boseman or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
He's
what
great.
They got was
he's
great.
Fucking great. So they followed through with that plot point where he becomes a villain, and I think that's great. And then the other one being where you have Doctor Strange talking to Thor.
Yeah, now that was interesting.
And setting up for Ragnarok. So I guess, God willing, and I think it's almost evident right there, is that we're going to see Doctor Strange in Thor Ragnarok. So
well, it also makes sense because from what I understand, and I'm still not sold on this, but I'm giving Marvel the benefit of the doubt because truthfully they haven't really let me down yet. But they're incorporating Planet Hulk into Ragnarok and making some type of weird fusion of the two.
Yeah,
that's kind of what they're doing here.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the teaser trailers, they actually show Hulk with the helmet and everything. So in Planet Hulk, Doctor Strange had a role in that, where he actually he invoked a spell that made him more or less Hulk's equal physically.
Wow.
If you read the book, Planet Hulk was a fantastic story. So
I read I read some of it, but
Or rather, I take it back. It wasn't so much Planet Hulk; it was World War Hulk.
Oh, okay.
And in World War Hulk, he when the Hulk comes back to Earth after.
Yeah, no, I didn't read that.
Oh well, World War Hulk obviously is right after Planet Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody who read it knows that in Planet Hulk, his ship exploded, killed millions of people, including the woman he married.
So he had a hard on for Earth.
Yeah, so he came back to Earth looking to whoop the ass of everyone who sent them to that planet, or he thought that his ship was meant to explode, that it was a trap.
Yeah.
It turns out it wasn't the case. But Hulk, still grieving for the loss of his kingdom and his wife, and who he thought was his son, who comes back later as his name is Scar. They call him Scar.
Yeah.
Hulk comes back to Earth in a rage and starts to enact that rage on everyone who he feels responsible.
Yeah.
Mr. Fantastic, Professor X, Iron Man, and Black Bolt from the Inhumans, and it's just probably maybe the best Hulk story that we've had in maybe 20 years.
Yeah.
I would say I'd go out on a limb and say that.
Right.
So they're incorporating Planet Hulk and Thor Ragnarok and putting it together and creating this.
Right.
Whatever this movie is going to be. So one thing we do know for sure, Thor finds out obviously that Loki is portraying Odin.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's asking Dr. Help's assistance in finding his father. So I guess he came to find out that Loki was pretending to be
Odin. Right.
So much. This movie, Thor Ragnarok, is really going to set the stage, I think, for Infinity Wars.
Nice.
Because if you think about it, in all the Phase 1 movies, a lot of it centers around Asgard. The stones, like the first one, right? The Tesseract and everything else. Loki's staff.
Which is the what was it? The Tesseract was the Space Stone, wasn't it?
The Tesseract is I think the Mind Space Stone, the Mind Stone, something like that.
Mind Stone is the Vision.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, he has the
Mind Stone.
He has the soul, isn't it? The soul.
The Mind Stone. The Mind Stone
was given to Vision.
Was
given to Vision.
Yeah.
So you have all these stones running around here, and if you think about it, even Guardians of the Galaxy, at the very end, remember?
Yeah, that was the. Damn, what's the? I keep forgetting all these down and stuff. But
it's hard because they're called differently in the.
Yeah, they're called differently. So you had the Tesseract being one of them. You had Loki's staff being the Mind Stone. You had the Ether, which was in Thor, Dark World. Then you had the stone in Guardians of the Galaxy. Now you have the Eye of Agamotto, which has the time stone.
That's another thing too. They talk about that actually being, which I believe that's different from the comics. I don't believe.
The time stone is not in the Eye of Agamotto.
Not as far as I know.
Which was another plot point of that, which I really liked, like the way his cape is almost sentient.
Minor changes that make sense.
Yeah.
The minor changes that make sense. So Asgard has such a prominent role in these movies, the first couple Phase movies, because even in Guardians of the Galaxy, what do you find at the end? You found Sif, and you found I think it was not Hogun, Volstagg going to the Collector.
Yeah.
About the the stones.
Right.
And they mentioned the Infinity Gem. So this movie is going to set the precedence, I think, for what's going to happen going forward, because Thor's movies, they seem to be using Thor's movies as the staging ground for everything.
Yeah, man. It's amazing stuff, man. I'm on board, and they hit another home run into my book. Call me what you will, but I'm Marvel's bitch right now.
Yeah, well, we had talked about it in the theaters. Have you seen the movie again, or you only saw it that one time?
No, just the one time.
Okay. Now, I mentioned the theater, so I'll mention it again. We talk about this movie being similar to a Phase 1. If you look at the Phase 1 origin movies, right? You look at Iron Man, Captain America. We could even take Ant-Man into account. That's an origin movie.
Yeah.
Look at all the origin flicks. Where do you think Doctor Strange ranks amongst the other ones in terms of origins?
Oh, man. That's hard, because I mentioned that I liked Iron Man, and then I liked Iron Man and Doctor Strange, and then I flipped it, and I was like, I like Doctor Strange and then Iron Man. And you know what? Then I seem to forget that Thor, the first Thor, fucking grew on me in ways that I didn't think. I have a love for Thor 1.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I love both of them. But definitely...
Not so much Part 2. Part 2 is okay, but Part 1, it's like... man, it's got me.
It's just, you know, it's those moments, right?
Yeah.
In Thor 1, the first time, and especially for me, that I'm a big Thor fan, he's one of my favorite characters, as you know. Seeing Asgard alone was just a moment for me.
There's just like little key moments.
Yeah,
like when
seeing the Rainbow Bridge was a moment for me.
When he goes to pick up the hammer after he loses the worthiness, and he can't get it up. He's in the rain, and he screams up to his father. And it was just like, yo, he looked like Thor. Like, that was like, the whole movie, that was the most Thor thing I saw in that scene. I was like, oh man, this is fucking awesome. So
it was like watching Captain America with his shield for the first time.
Like for me, when we left the theater that night, I was saying that Captain America was my number one, because Captain America has always been one of my favorite ones of everyone. And
it's just gotten steadily better.
Yeah,
you know, which is different.
So yeah,
if Iron Man 2 was good, I didn't think it was necessarily better than Part 1, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
So you know what? Like, out of all the origin stories, and there's quite a few, it would have to be Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and then Doctor Strange. I loved Ant-Man, don't get me wrong, but that keeps getting shifted down. I love Ant-Man. That fucking movie is awesome to me.
Oh yeah, Ant-Man is great. Ant-Man is great. The only problem Ant-Man had is that it doesn't have that awesome villain. Even though the guy who played...
I like Yellow Jacket.
No. Yellow Jacket is cool, but Yellow Jacket... when you think of the great villains, right? You can think of Loki. You could think of Red Skull.
But Ant-Man doesn't have... Well, Ant-Man never really... I mean, count how many times Ant-Man's had his own comic.
Yeah, very limited. Very limited.
And then out of those times, any of his villains were never really on that high bar, that high caliber of villains.
Exactly, and that's why it kind of, as good as Ant-Man is.
But it put Yellow Jacket on the radar, so that if he ever made a return, you're like, well, yeah, he was a kind of a badass character. Let's see what we can do with him.
Yeah, no, definitely. But you see, when you look at Yellow Jacket next to, Loki or Red Skull, that's why Ant-Man is good of a film as it is. Hell, in some ways, it's better than all those other movies. In some ways.
Yeah, in some ways.
In some ways it is. But when, you don't rank it up there with the other ones because of that villain,
Right. So yeah, that's Doctor Strange, folks. We spoiled the shit out of that one. That's great. I know I have to see it again.
I am definitely gonna watch it.
I'm gonna have to see it again.
And we have some big stuff coming up too. I mean, we have the Magical Beasts and Where to Find Them from J.K.
That comes
Rowling.
out this Friday, right?
Yeah,
next Friday.
Next Friday it comes out. We got stuff coming up, guys. We got UFC 205, first one in New York happening tomorrow. You know I am psyched for that.
Yeah, man. Too bad we couldn't get tickets to that, man.
$800, man, for cheap seats.
I'm like, who I gotta blow?
I'm telling you, you gotta go to Dana and suck his dick.
I'm like, please, let me get
You can't even suck the Fertitos' dick no more. They sold the company.
Oh man.
So then you gotta go to WME, which owns it now, but that's a whole board of directors. There's a lot
no,
of
you don't. I mean, you don't have to go to Dana White. I mean, think about the gauntlet you have to get through just to get to Dana White, just so you can suck his dick.
You probably gotta go through Joe Rogan. You gotta go through Mike
He gets
Goldberg.
first dibs, yeah.
You gotta go through Mike Goldberg. You gotta go through Joe Silver, the matchmaker, Sean Shelby.
Yeah.
And then, oh, Jesus.
But see, that's the thing.
Your knees are going to be worn out by the time you get there.
You don't have to do that. Because it's at Madison Square Garden. You just have to get to the Garden. And just maybe get the guard.
That's true.
You aim low.
You got to aim low. You got to aim low. You're right about that.
Aim low. Your expectations are too high, man.
Yeah, maybe the ticket booth clerk, you got to go in.
Yeah, just go in there and just...
Slob the knob a little bit.
A little bit, you get in. So yeah, all that's happening. But let's talk about a little bit of the small screen. So... November 28th, CW is gearing up for their giant crossover. So Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, Legends Tomorrow are having a 4-night crossover event.
Holy shit.
So, and they guarantee that you're seeing everybody on the screen at one time.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Awesome shit. So it's really big, really huge. I'm looking forward to it. And they still got to explain how the fuck Supergirl is part of that universe.
Right. Because she was from a different universe.
Different dimension, yeah. So we'll see how that works out. But I hope they have a good way of explaining that. And I think it has to do with the Flashpoint thing.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm almost convinced of that. So like more repercussions of Barry's shit.
That selfish prick.
Word up. What I really like on Legends of Tomorrow is that they're pulling in more from the other shows, because now this season's before it was Vandal Savage of the last season, and he was very menacing villain. He was kind of annoying. He was an annoying prick, and I didn't like him. I didn't like the look of him. So every time I saw him, I was like, just kill this fucker already.
I know what you mean.
But the villain in this series, in this season, is Damien Dark. But not only Damien Dark, which was played brilliantly in Arrow, but the Reverse Flash, Thawne. He's teamed up with Thawne.
Oh.
And from what I understand, there'll be a couple of more villains in there. I believe like Captain Cold, and a couple of things. A couple of people are coming back to partner up as villains in this.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
So this shit is gonna be epic. It's gonna be fucking epic.
I tell you, man. We've said this a bunch of times. As much as Marvel rules the gold screen, DC rules the silver one. You know, and they just do.
It's hard,
rule
man.
the silver
It's hard.
Screen, you know?
Also through the grapevine, we may get the question.
Yes, I was hearing about that
on Arrow.
I think the question,
because they already mentioned Hub City.
They did.
They already mentioned Hub City.
Well, you know, the question is a character kind of based on Rorschach from Watchmen.
Right.
You know, and I've always found the question, and especially in the Justice League cartoon, the Justice League Unlimited, where they introduce all these heroes. Justice League Unlimited doesn't get the credit it deserves. I still say that because that, in my opinion, is the greatest superhero cartoon ever. And one of the reasons for that isn't just because of the great fights and everything else. They gave a spotlight to a lot of second and third tier characters.
Yeah.
You know, they gave it to the Black Canary. They gave it to Huntress. Question.
We're gonna get more of that. We're gonna get more of that.
Yeah,
there's a new Justice League cartoon coming.
You're kidding.
Yeah, but the thing about this one is not so where you see the seriousness of Justice League Unlimited. It's not going to be as serious. It's going to be a little more lighthearted, even the character drawings are a little younger looking.
Oh boy!
But it's not so
Here
young.
We go.
But it's not so young like Legends of what was it? The Legends.
Cartoon? Oh, the Legion. You mean Legion of Superheroes? Legion
of Superheroes. It's not as young as that.
You know, that cartoon was okay. I enjoyed Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, it's not stupid like Teen Titans Go.
Oh God!
It's nothing like that. It's just a little bit more, I guess, kid friendly, but it straddles that fine line between like this is adults and this is kids. So
I'll give it a chance. I'm definitely.
But I mean, the people are reprising their roles. Kevin Conroy's coming back as Batman. Mark Hamill's doing the Joker when he shows up on the show.
Oh, excellent!
So
this is a Bruce Timm thing here.
I think so. It may be.
Okay.
It may be.
Okay. Well, I tell you, Question is one of those guys that. He's a very underutilized character.
Yeah.
But I tell you, when he came out in Justice League Unlimited, I grew to love him. Right. I grew to love this character. And, you know, I know it's going to sound crazy because he doesn't have any, like, real bad guys of himself. But the cool thing about the Question is he's not a superhero in the traditional sense.
Right.
So he doesn't need to have, like, a super bad guy.
Right.
You know, the establishment can be his bad guy. The government can be his bad guy.
Right.
You know, any of these shadow operations or shadow cabinets of government or any of these, you know, secret organizations could be his bad guy.
And I'm loving.
He could. I think he could actually make a pretty cool show.
Yeah, I'm loving what they're doing with this. I mean, especially with Arrow, because Arrow, I have a lot of gripes with Arrow, with the ending of season 2. We're in season 4 now, and season 3 picked up a little bit, but I still had a lot of issues with the show, and now season 4. I'm enjoying the season a lot more now. I'm back on board because they're as the veteran show of all of them. They're pulling in things that expand the show. Like they're bringing all these new characters. Like they got Mr. Terrific on the show now.
Seriously.
They got Wild Dog.
Wow.
They got new characters I never even seen before. They brought in Constantine last season.
Constantine, yeah.
And they used the Constantine from the other show.
Channel 4?
The Channel 4 show. They used the same guy as Constantine. So
it's a shame that show didn't last.
It's a shame.
It's a shame.
But if that means
jump on board.
if that means maybe bringing him on these shows as a supporting character,
you think maybe
and you
that
get
show,
more of that?
You think maybe that show could survive on WB?
Maybe it's right up. You know the demographic, which is like 18 to 34. It seems to be like their demographic for the CW channel. So yeah, I think totally that they can probably do it and make it work. They just got to get rid of shit like the Vampire Diaries and originals and fuck them.
Yeah, but you know those shows have such a following.
They do, man.
I mean, I'm not a fan.
I mean, teenage girls, but
teenage girls love those. Teenage, you know what? There's dudes at my job, bro, who like that show. I mean, not so much Vampire Diaries, but the originals.
But
there's dudes at my job who are in love with that show, and you should hear them at the desk talking about it. I'm like, you bunch of pussies.
Probably got their posters on the wall.
Probably got their posters and probably
other dudes,
of the guys, not even the girls, the dudes. You know, Jesus Christ.
But
you know what? Trump's president. We don't got to be PC anymore.
No, I guess
that's
not.
right.
That's it. This is gonna be a totally different
show. It's gonna be a different show now.
So, so yeah, they're bringing all these fucking
bunch of slack jawed faggots over there.
A little Predator quote there for you. So, so yeah, so they're doing a wonderful job of bringing all these characters in, and yeah, that big crossover event. So yeah, they got the new superhero show, and it looks, the superhero show, the Justice League. It looks.
I'm looking forward to it.
It looks alright. I'm curious. What else is on the horizon? Oh, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Ultron's Revenge, or whatever the hell they call it.
Cartoon?
Yeah, the cartoon. You know, they shadow that line between movie and their own thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
But I enjoy it, man.
I know you do. You and a lot of
and
people.
Look,
you're not alone.
So, and they're still they brought in. I think they had the Sokovia Accords in the show, so they integrated that. Right, so they're kind of bound by like Tony is the leader, but he's not really the leader anymore.
Yeah, I hate that.
So they have somebody to answer to. So they got tired of Hulk shit. So they got rid of the Hulk. They kicked him out of the Avengers, and now they brought in the Red Hulk.
Why did they kick Hulk out?
Because the Hulk was causing too much damage. I don't know what the fuck. Like the guy has a hard on for the Hulk, so he was like, "Yo, get out of here. You ain't shit no more."
Well, the Red Hulk, right?
No. The guy who's like kind of bossing the Avengers around. He's one of those government.
It's not General
officials.
Ross like it was.
No, it's not Ross. It's somebody.
Well,
else.
you know, Ross is actually the Red Hulk.
Yeah, probably, but I didn't see where he came from.
Well, in the comics,
like they just introduced the Red Hulk in here.
Yeah, in the comics, General Ross is the Red Hulk.
Oh wow! So there you go. So
maybe
it is General Ross.
And they have a Red She-Hulk in the comics, which actually is Betty Ross.
Oh damn!
Yeah. I'm telling you, we done gone Hulk crazy. We got Hulkling, who's gay. You figure that out. We have Scar. Or is it Sakaar? No, I think it's Scar. That's his name. Sakaar was the name of the planet.
No, Scar.
Yeah, Scar. We have the Hulk's son, Scar. Then who he's a pretty badass dude.
No,
by
he
the
is.
way. Because not only does he have Hulk-like strength, he has the strength of the old strong. And if you read up Planet Hulk, you know that comes from his mother.
Yeah.
You know, the old strong. It's a way of tapping into the tectonic force of a planet. So at one point he knocked Juggernaut damn near into orbit.
Nice.
You know, this kid is powerful because he has his natural Hulk strength.
Yeah, fuck you, Dad.
Yeah, in addition to the old strong force. Where he's able to tap into like the gravitational tectonic, energy of a planet and channel that into blows.
That's fucking jargon when they can't explain where the fuck the power comes from. It's like, I'm going to tap into the tectonic force of the planet.
Yeah, I know. It does sound... I mean, there is a certain level of... I mean, it's not complete bullshit. There is such a thing. But it does seem like they're reaching. You know?
How explain this extra power, old force?
The old strong. Yeah, it was like a tribal thing. Yeah. You know, a particular group of people from that world where Hulk was trapped on were able to tap into that. The kid's mother was like the last of that line. Right. Of people who could do it, and so he inherited that ability from his mother. You know, and he's an interesting character.
Yeah.
That guy. But we're done gone Hulk crazy. We got all these colored Hulks. I'm waiting for a purple Hulk, a blue Hulk.
You know, I'm looking for a caca brown Hulk.
A shit brown Hulk.
Yeah, he's Duty Brown.
Doo-doo brown Hulk.
Call him Dulk.
What a shulk. Shit Hulk.
Shit Hulk. So Yeah. So, how you call it? What else are we talking about? We have
that.
Ghost Rider.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
It's been doing so well that they're talking about giving him his own show.
Is it going to be a Channel 7 or a Netflix?
They haven't decided whether or not it's going to be network television or Netflix.
I almost hope they go Netflix.
We all are saying the same thing, only because we're so biased because of how good the shows have been on Netflix.
Then on Netflix, they can push the boundary a little more.
But I like the network has a far more reaching audience because it's reaching audiences that are outside the demographic. Like, you got people who binge watch Netflix, which is awesome, but are they pulling in the kind of viewers that are watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Channel 4? So it's one of those things. It's like, where do you put this? How far do you want it to go? Do you want to keep it consistent with the TV universe as opposed to the Netflix universe? Or do you want to go dark with it? So, I mean, you just have these things to contend with.
Logistical questions they gotta figure out.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping Netflix, because Ghost Rider, if done properly, can be a really amazing show. And it's not that Channel 7 can't do it properly, but there's obvious borders.
Right.
Where Netflix doesn't really have those borders.
Right.
So I'm kind of hoping that it goes Netflix.
Yeah.
From what I understand, there's also in the comic book front, there's also a Spawn movie that they've been talking about it forever.
Yeah, McFarlane is working on a Spawn
Right,
movie.
they've been talking about it for years, but we haven't heard any segue being made in it. But now it seems like this thing is really going to happen.
Speaking of Steam, yeah, they said that they have a script or they have a story. They don't really necessarily have a script, but they have a story locked in where it kind of plays out more like a horror film than it does a superhero film.
Which is rightfully so, because
for its kind of character.
Yeah, because if you remember the age, which I thought was brilliant, there was a cartoon on HBO, a Spawn cartoon.
Everybody remembers
it
that.
only lasted 2 seasons, and the only reason it stopped is because McFarlane said it was too much work to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But the ratings for it were fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was. And
brilliant. The cartoon was amazing.
Yeah, I missed that.
It was dark. It was eerie. It contained all the elements that Spawn has in the comic books. It didn't feel watered down or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
arguably that's one of the most true to comic conversions from, let's say, from page to screen.
Oh, definitely.
I mean,
definitely so.
Because even cartoons based on comic source material or cartoons based on comics, whether it be Superman, Batman, all that, they take cues from the comic books, but they're not page for page comic book.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
You know what I'm saying? They'll just make stories with these characters, and because they're making 24 episodes. But there's a difference. But what is confirmed, it's going to happen. Season 3 of Young Justice.
Really?
Yeah, confirmed.
They're going to do it because they stopped it after 2 seasons.
Confirmed. It made just like the way they did with Futurama and Family Guy, where the syndication just fucking went through the roof on Adult Swim, and they brought it back by popular demand. Same thing was happening here. It went on Netflix, and people just went fucking apeshit on the show.
You see, the problem with that show is kind of the same problem that Legion of Superheroes had, in the sense where they had a very good premise, but it took too long to kind of get to the point.
Yeah,
and people, I think, just kind of lost interest.
Well, like
over time.
Legion of Heroes had 3 seasons? 3 seasons?
2 or 3.
Yeah, they were like in 2 and like I think maybe in mid 3. Young Justice had 2. By the time it got to the end of 2, it left on an awesome cliffhanger. Well, because it was starting to kick in some real plot, some real stories. And when people watching it on Netflix and get to there, I'm like, what? That's it? Are you fucking kidding me? And you know what? It took off from there, and now we're gonna get a season 3.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. First of all, we need some damn cartoons for us again. A lot of these cartoons that are out here, with the exception of, I guess, the Spider-Man and the Avengers, which I don't really care for those. Mm-hmm. But at the very least, they're there. Mm-hmm. At the very least, they're there. It's been a long time since there's been a cartoon that I've been generally really interested in seeing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. If they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna do it, I'm glad. I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will. Is it gonna be in the same channel, Channel 11?
Well, like I said, they haven't nailed down whether or not it's gonna be on Netflix, which I'm kind of thinking it might be. But I mean, they haven't nailed down whether or not it's gonna be Netflix or a network.
Netflix is just man, they're really expanding. They're really expanding.
They're
they have a lot of series,
the game right
and
now.
they're murdering it right now. They're doing their own stuff. They're doing their own movies. They're doing their own shows.
They're kicking. They're kicking television down that giant hole.
Yeah,
while screaming, "This is Sparta."
They're gonna make it obsolete.
So
it almost feels like they're gonna at some point make it obsolete.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, give you another option. They're gonna.
True,
It's another option for, let's say, somebody who doesn't want to have cable. They just may be more than content watching what's on Netflix.
Yeah, trust me. I'm trying to figure out a way to lower my cable bill because they have all these streaming things where you can get all these channels stream for a fraction of the cost. Like I'm paying way too much for cable right now, so the only thing the only thing I'm like kind of put off from not doing is because I DVR a lot of stuff.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
definitely, me too.
So if I can't do that with these, streaming services, and those streaming services have the channels that I like to watch, because I'm selective. I don't watch just fucking anything. I watch a lot of shit, but I don't just watch anything. So.
Yeah, no, same here. Definitely, I don't have time to watch everything.
That's
Then another thing for me, which is a big deal, because I'm a big fight fan. So are they gonna have the fights I want to see? Can I order my pay-per-views? Can I, or even just the free events, the stuff that comes out on Fox Sports 1? Can I watch those?
Right, exactly. So
those are things that's a deal breaker for me. You tell me I can't watch my fights, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah. So I mean, at that point, that's when we got to do our homework and see. But
on a quick note, before we go, gotta ask you, Walking Dead.
This
season,
man.
What do you think? I mean, we already know, obviously, the Negan thing is coming down. We spoke about that.
Yeah, no, it's...
But Negan, of course, is still there.
Yeah.
Torturing everybody.
Yeah, no.
Just by his presence.
The whole King Ezekiel thing coming out, which
was weird shit.
Weird, but awesome. And then the third episode, people talking about, they're back to this shit again. But I liked, the episode since the first one. Like, the third episode with Daryl being tortured, and I think that was fucking cool. Like, it was a different episode, and it felt different. It didn't drag. It was just like you're seeing what's happening with him. You're seeing what's happening with this guy who wants to be him.
Dwight
wants to be Daryl.
Well, I think
in a way, because look, he's wearing his clothes. He got his bow and arrow, and he's seeing how much Negan is taking a shine to him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's almost trying to be Daryl in a way.
Yeah, I think what it is that, Negan already completely emasculated him in the sense where he burned his face, took his wife,
Yeah.
But he's so afraid of not being killed or being another victim of Lucille that he's just rolling with everything that Negan does. But there's a part of him that obviously knows that what he's doing is wrong. There's a part of him that wants to cling to whatever humanity he feels he has left. And I think what it is with Daryl is he sees that Daryl doesn't break.
Mm-hmm.
And he admires that about Daryl. And I think he envies him in the sense. I don't know if it's so much that he wants to be him or just a certain level of envy because he wishes he were that strong.
Right.
He wishes he were that strong. And I don't know what they're going to do. Uh-oh.
And we got tortured by this fucking song.
Oh, that's right. The whole time. Oh. I wanted to take Lucille now. After listening to that song, I would have asked Negan to hit me with Lucille over the fucking head.
I sent them a text with the link to the song.
Oh, I wanted to kill him. I was at work.
This shit is fucking catchy.
What the hell is that song?
I don't know, but I'm trying to make this shit viral and nobody's helping me. I think it was viral already because people really love this shit.
There are some things that are too annoying to be viral.
I fucking love it.
But every other scene on Walking Dead, it started with that damn song. Every fucking scene.
It was great.
And what was so cool was that at some point you saw it driving Daryl nuts. Like that song was driving him fucking crazy.
Yeah, no. Me and Chaz joked around about, like, if it would have been me inside there, I would have been dancing like the Carlton.
Think you broke me.
It's not unusual to be.
Yeah.
He'd have been in there singing.
I'd have been like happy as a fucking lark.
They'd have opened that door and said, "Come on, Tone, no problem."
One more time.
One more time.
So yeah, no, that I like what they're doing. People, you're not gonna please everybody. You got people who just want to see the hardcore shit. You got people who need to break it up because the tragicness of what happened in episode 1 is still reverberating in people even up until now. So
I'm not gonna lie, man. It's not often that I see a show. Game of Thrones did this to me also. It's not often that I see a show where a death really affects me. In Game of Thrones, when Ned Stark died, I remember the next day I was like, I can't believe they actually killed him. I was sure, because I had never read the books, so I was sure that somehow, some way, he was going to avoid getting killed. And I was like, this guy's like one of the main characters. They're not going to kill him. It's impossible. And sure enough, season 1.
But all right. So here's where you fucked up because it's Sean Bean. He dies in everything.
You look at it that way. Hey, he didn't die in Jupiter Ascending.
He died a little.
I'm not talking about him personally. I'm talking about the character. I think everyone died a little.
So I mean, there it is. I mean, like he dies in everything. So you should have saw it coming.
You're right. I should have. When you say it that way, that actually makes sense.
So
I should have seen that coming. But Game of Thrones, I mean, watching the way Negan killed Glenn and Abraham, I remember for a couple of days I couldn't believe it.
Here's something you might have not noticed in that death scene of Abraham.
The peace sign, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I caught that.
You did.
I did. I caught that.
And that was for Sasha.
That was for the girl, Sasha, because she would walk away and always go peace and put up the 2 fingers.
Yeah.
And
I
so
thought that was
he did
brilliant.
that with the sign. I caught it not the first time I saw it, because I was kind of still just in awe at the way he was getting killed. Mm-hmm. But I remember when I saw that scene again, I just happened to catch. I said, "Wait a minute, is his fingers?" So then I stopped and I looked at it a couple times and I said, "Holy crap, he had the peace sign up."
Yep. That was good shit, man. That was good shit.
So
there it is, man. We talked about everything under the sun. We fucking spoiled rotten. What's that fucking movie called? Doctor Strange.
El Señor Extraño.
Yes, there you go. So yeah,
I want to see that movie in Spanish. That's gonna be hysterical.
Just give it time. It'll be at Telemundo in no time. He looks like a Spanish dude.
He really does.
He was tailor made for that fucking role. So
Stefano Extraño.
Yeah, so we talked about that. So it was green and moldy and smelly, and then we talked about other things under the sun, and just.
We will be back.
We'll be back.
We'll be giving you results and a little bit of a play-by-play analysis of UFC 205.
There you go.
Big event in New York, first one ever. Tickets were ridiculously priced.
Always.
As always, like $800 for the cheap seats. We have Conor McGregor trying to do something that no one's ever done in UFC history: hold 2 belts simultaneously in 2 different weight classes.
It's never
been done. Legends have tried it. Legends have failed. So Conor is looking to immortalize himself in the fight game. By doing this, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson going at Tyron Woodley for the welterweight title.
Awesome.
Woodley, this is his first title defense. We have Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I believe is the way to pronounce it, the women's strawweight champion, defending her title also against Carolina Carolcase. That should be a fantastic fight in the undercard. We got Frankie Edgar on the undercard. Okay, we got Chris Weidman versus Joel Romero. We would have had Donald Cerrone and Kevin Gastelum, but Kevin Gastelum couldn't make weight again. So here we are. They changed opponents. Donald Cerrone will be fighting Matt Brown at UFC 206. That should be one hell of a fight. John Jones, for this quick thing, has been cleared of using. Okay, he's been cleared of trying to cheat. It's established the guy was not trying to cheat, which I was saying all along he was not trying to do. But because he took a pill that was a tainted supplement, the USADA has to give him the papao. So he is not going to be fighting until July.
Right.
So, so he's still stuck, but he's going to be fighting sooner than later.
Yeah.
So many things happen. We have Ronda Rousey coming back in December. So it's gonna. If you're a fight fan, there's a lot of stuff coming up.
And don't miss the main fight, the real fight. Me versus Gravity, trying to get off this motherfucker's couch. That's gonna be the real fight.
Oh yeah, especially after all, I'm getting pizza from Full Moon.
Oh fuck!
I'm buying 3 pizzas.
So what? Order and then go pick it up.
Yeah, we'll go pick it.
All right.
Or maybe I'll ask Ralph and Jay to get it, whatever. But I'm ordering pizzas. I'm gonna have beers.
Sweet. All right.
So
I like this fucking plan.
yeah, we're gonna be doing that, and we'll bring you the results on our next show.
We'll try to do it as soon as possible. I mean, hopefully we can get it done. I don't know. We'll converse that after we get off the podcast. I don't want to make promises I can't keep.
Definitely.
Because, I be doing that sometimes, I be saying, yo, I'm going to do this and that, and I don't do it. Like a live podcast. That's about as live. Never mind.
Well, it was lively.
It was lively, yes. So that's it from the corner. I'm Anthony Cruz.
Nick Portela.
And we'll see you next time.
On the corner. Peace.
That's kind of redundant.
Peace.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tone and Stereo, and visit the Facebook page Art Graphics Inc. and visit my website artgraphicsinc.com. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Nick and I appreciate the support. It's free, it doesn't cost you a thing, and you save your index finger from carpal tunnel syndrome. So help us grow and expand and bring more content to you. And we'll see you next time right here on the corner.